Today is Monday, Zayin Nisan Tovshin Gimel. We're in Teres Menachem Sefer Mamorim Tovshin Yud Aleph Tovshin Yud Beis in the Maimer of Shabbos Parshas B'chukoisai Mevorchem Achedesh Sivan Tovshin Yud Aleph Dibra Maschel Vhishalachti B'sechechem, and we are on page Peites. In order to explain the concept of Vhishalachti, the two modes of walking, the milmata lamayla, from below to above, and milmayla lamata, from above to below, together, the Rebbe first explained each one of these individually. Milmata lamayla means when the revelation of godliness that comes to us is as a result of our initiative, in which case, because it's on our initiative, it triggers a level of godliness which is within our range, generally memalek alman, and not beyond that. Whereas if the initiative comes from above, milmayla lamata, we're talking about a level of godliness which is out of our range, which we cannot trigger. Generally, the level of godliness known as sevev kol almin. In the first one, of course, our effort, our state of refinement in the morning is necessary, a necessary component to draw that Getlichkeit. In the latter, although we don't trigger the Giluyim, the revelations from above, nevertheless, because we're talking about a revelation of godliness, although beyond worlds, nonetheless related to worlds in some sense, therefore the state of refinement or lack of the tachton, of the one below, is relevant in the sense of how much of that revelation will actually find expression in the tachton, in the one below. However, there is a higher level, a level which is beyond Milmata Lamayla and beyond Milmayla Lamata, a level which is beyond the revelations of Memalek Kolamin and Sevev Kolamin. And that's what we're focusing on over here. So we are on page Peites. Ten lines from the end of the paragraph. 3 words from the end of the line. At the full stop where it says Omnam. Omnam, however, in Vhishalachti b'teva achas, the idea of Vhishalachti, in one word, hu ba'ofen she'ein be'yischalkus d'maylo mata. We're talking about such a revelation of a revelation from such a level of godliness in which there is no division of above and below. Sheshneihem shavim, they are both equal. V'hainu, why is that? Lefi shesheresham shachazuhu meha atzmos, because the source of this drawing down of this level of godliness is from Atzmos, from the very essence of Hashem, Shehu Mokir Ha'ir, which is the source of Ir, of all revelation, of all light. Including also which one? The higher of the two that we discussed earlier. And not only are we talking about Atzmos as it is a source for Ir, a source for light, we say them is even more so, Shebe'emes Ein Shayach L'Tare, Gam Ke Mokir Ha'ir. In truth, we can't even define him as a source for the light, a source for Getlichkeit. For these revelations. Why? Because he's way, way beyond all of that, as we discussed at quite some length yesterday. And from his perspective, so far as he's concerned, all is completely equal. What's the sum total of that? What's the bottom line? Move on. From this is understood that for this type of revelation, there doesn't even need to be the refinement of the one that receives. He is able to reveal himself to all. Why? Because he's so beyond having any relationship or any relevance to the ones below. He's so much greater that the condition of the one below makes absolutely no difference whatsoever. When will this revelation take place? The very essence of Hashem. This revelation will take place in the time to come, specifically, meaning to say, in the times of Mashiach, but specifically B'tchias hamesim dafke, specifically at the time of the resurrection of the dead. She'oz tiyeh ha'yizgalus lakel b'shava. It's then when this revelation will be to all equally. V'ad shafilu b'yesh hanivra yizgalus shemitzius yesh amiti, to the extent that even in the created yesh will be revealed that his true existence, his true being is the true yesh. Meaning to say that really and truly, what are we? We are but expressions of Hashem. Which means to say that even the created yesh, who feels himself that his existence comes from his essence, in other words, the natural state of feeling of this yesh hanivra, of the created yesh, is that he is a yesh on his own. Where does that stem from? That stems from the fact that he was created by the Yesh Amiti, by Hashem himself. Because as we learned in the previous Mamorim, who can truly create Yesh Me'ayin? Who can create something from nothing ex nihilo? Only Hashem himself, the very essence of Hashem. Right? So therefore, that feeling that the created Yesh possesses, that he exists on his own, is really a mirror, a direct result of the fact that he's created by Hashem himself. It's just that the fact that he's created by Hashem is concealed, so therefore he feels himself as what? As a separate entity. What's going to be when Mashiach comes? When Mashiach comes, there will be such revelation. Doesn't mean that we will become Uis Mitzias, we won't exist any longer. That the Yesh Hanivra, the created Yesh, won't exist any longer. On the contrary, we will exist. And not only will we exist, there will also be the resurrection of all those that have passed on, that have existed previously. What's going to be? Well, the Osid is Gala, in the future time it'll be revealed when? At the time of Tchias HaMesim, at the time of the resurrection, it'll be revealed by Yesh HaNivra, in the created Yesh, Shehu Atzmehu HaYesh HaMiti, that he really and truly is what? The true Yesh, meaning to say, a direct expression of Hashem's very essence. So, in other words, Vhishalachti, B'Seichachem, refers to such a revelation of godliness, which is beyond Lamata Lamaila, beyond Lamaila Lamata, it's beyond everything. In simple words, or in one word, I don't know if it's simple, but in one word, the revelation of Hashem himself, the very essence of Hashem.
Why is there a connection with the resurrection of the dead?
Because that is the point at which this revelation takes place. What actually brings about the resurrection? How does the resurrection happen? What's resurrection? It's creation. That's what it is. What's the difference between resurrecting somebody that's passed on or creating somebody that has never lived before?
And does it mean the resurrection of all the dead for the past 2,000,
yes,
4,000 years?
Absolutely. All those that the Mishnah says in Sanhedrin, Kol Yisrael Yesh Lam Chelek Le'olam Haba. All Jews have a share in the world to come, which refers to the resurrection. Now we're going back. Now we're going to the part. If you remember, yesterday I mentioned the piece in the brachas of Shema, the brachas preceding Shema of Shabbos, in which we say 4 expressions: Ein arech lecha, ve'ein zulasecha, efes biltecha, umidei melach. And then he goes on and he says like this. I'll say it again in English. There's Ein arech lecha, there is none comparable to you. Ve'ein zulasecha, and none apart from you. Efes biltecha, there is nothing without you. Umidei melach, and who is like you. And he spells it out. Ein arech lecha be'olam hazeh. When we say there is none comparable to you, this is in this world. When we say ve'ein zulasecha, and there's none apart from you, this is where? L'olam haba, the world to come. B'olam haba, I'm sorry, l'chai olam haba. Efes biltecha, there is nothing without you. Where is this? L'moisa Mashiach, in the days of Mashiach. Ve'ein de'im lecha v'yishienu, and there is none like you in the era of the resurrection of the dead. So the Rebbe explains that these 4 expressions are actually the levels that we're talking about over here. We're talking about over here 3 levels that I've mentioned, 3 levels of revelation of Godlichkeit. The revelation of godliness, which comes as a result of the initiative of the one below, of us, which is the revelation of Memale Kol Almin. Then there is Milmaila Lamata, the revelation of godliness that comes by Hashem's own initiative, which is beyond our range, which is the revelation of what? Save Kol Almin. And then you have Vhishalachti. What's going to happen? The ultimate state when Mashiach comes at Chiyas HaMesim, at the resurrection, the revelation of Atzmas, the very essence of Hashem. This is actually what we say when we say this piece in davening. Before we say it inside, I'm just going to say it briefly outside, and then we'll see how the Rebbe explains this. The Rebbe actually doesn't really discuss it so much previously in the Maimer, but Ein Reich Lecha B'Elam Hazeh means there is no. Got to refer back to the Siddur. What was it? There is none comparable to you in this world. In other words, so the Taich Chassidus Hazeh, where do we see that the distance between Hashem and a created being is vast, is incomparably distant, very, very distant, without any relationship whatsoever, Dafka B'Elam Hazeh in this physical world. Because in this world where we see an actual yesh, a physical yesh, when you talk about spiritual beings, it's less obvious. The distance between the creator, the created, is less obvious. When you're in Elam Hazeh, this physical world, you see a yesh, an actual physical yesh, you say, come on, there's no, you can't compare. The Ein Arech it's Ein Arech, it's completely without comparison. The creator and the created are completely without comparison. But what are we talking about? We're talking about Memalach Alman. We're talking about the level of godliness that fills worlds. In Olam Hazeh, you can see that the distance between the godliness and the created is vast. We're talking about the same idea still, the same level of godliness. However, in this physical world, it's only Ein Arech. However, the created being doesn't have bittul. He's not nullified before Hashem. He feels himself as a created being. He feels himself as existence. When we come to Gan Eden, right, in heaven, where there is the revelation of Malchus the Atzilus, over there the neshamas feel themselves completely bottled before Hashem. So over there, the same idea of Ein Arech is in what way? In a way of bittul. But we're still talking about Memalach Alamin. Then we move on to the next level. Note the difference. Before he says Ein, and now he says Ephes. What's the difference between Ein and Ephes? Ephes also means nothing. But Ephes is a stronger nothing. What does it mean? Ephes Biltecha Ga'aleinu L'Meisa Mashiach. There is nothing without you in the days of Mashiach. What does that refer to? That refers to as the Rebbe Rashab defines it, is the difference between the bittul of kalim and the bittul of oir. Okay, so kalim, vessels of Atzilus, are bottle, but they're kalim. They are the power of gvul, the power of limitation. We learned about this quite at length in previous mamorim, which means to say, although they are godliness, but they are the power of limitation, and therefore their connection, the way a limited force is connected to its source, is more distant. It's not davuk. The cleaving between it and its source is less obvious. Whereas Oir, the divine light, since it's Me'ein HaMoed, it's similar to the luminary, the way the light comes forth from its source is in a way of dveikus. It's connected. It's obvious that it is from its source. So therefore, it is more obvious in Oir that it has no independent existence. Rather than the Kli, where it's, because it's Koyach HaGvul, it's not as obvious. So therefore, the bittul of the Kalim is Ein, and the bittul of Eiris is what? Is Ephes. That it has no independent. In Eir, it's far more obvious that it has no independent existence whatsoever. It's merely it's but an expression of the luminary. So that's Ephes Biltecha Ga'aleinu L'Meisa Mashiach. Then we come to the last part, the Ein Doima L'Cha Misheinu L'Schir Samesim. And there is none like you, our deliverer, in the era of the resurrection of the dead, meaning to say that this is the revelation that we just discussed, the revelation of the Yesha Amiti and the Yesha Nivra. the revelation of the true Yesh into the created Yesh. The revelation that the created Yesh is in truth what? The true Yesh. Now let's see how the Rebbe spells it out inside. This is also what is meant when we say these four praises of Hashem that we just enumerated. I don't remember, I can't. There's no one comparable to you in this world. There's none besides you in the life of the world to come. There's nothing without you. Our Redeemer in the time of Mashiach, and there is no one comparable to you, our Redeemer, our Mashiach, in the time of the resurrection of the dead. What does it mean? When we say there's none beside you, when? Also another expression of none without you. It means to say that there is no existence besides Hashem. What does this mean? It doesn't mean that existence ceases to exist. There is existence. So what do you mean that there is no existence besides you? It means to say bittul. It exists in a bottle way. It's obvious that which exists has no independent existence. That it's totally and fully dependent on something else. Whether we're talking about ayin, the bittul of ayin, which is one level of bittul, nullification, or the bittul of efes, which is the deeper level of nullification, as I just spelled out from the Maimer of the Rebbe Rashab, which the Rebbe refers to, which is referred to in the footnotes, upon which this Maimer is based. Over there he explains this idea, that ayin is the bittul of kelim, and efes is the bittul of oires. But the idea basically is that it has no independent existence. Whereas we talk about the first shebach, the first praise, and the last one. The first one being that there is none comparable to you in this world. And the other extreme, and there is no one like you, which is at the time of resurrection. But they were not talking about bittul of ayin or bittul of efes. Over there we're talking about there is existence, there is a yesh. But it's in a way that it's not comparable to you and not similar to you. Because over here we're talking about the fact that the true yesh, it's not that there is an entity which is bottle. There is an entity which is really and truly Hashem himself, an expression of Hashem himself, of Hashem's true yeshes. In the fact that the yesh hanivra is actually the yesh ho'amiti, the created yesh is really and truly the true yesh. There are two extremes. There is the extreme, there is the extreme as it is now in our physical world. For although in truth the created yesh is really and truly what? Is really himself what? The true yesh, an expression of Hashem, nevertheless, nowadays in our world, it's completely concealed and hidden. Why? Because the yesh feels himself as an actual separate entity. Through the avodah now in our time, in this physical world, to remove these blockages and concealments, then there will be the revelation that no one is comparable to you, when there will be the resurrection. Then it will be revealed in actual fact that the Yesh HaNivra himself is the true Yesh. Let's just run through the last part. This is actually what it says in the pasuk. And I will lead you upright. Two heights. The two heights of Adam Rishon. This means the height of Eri Yasher and the height of Eri Chezer. Actually, we're not going to make it. We'll finish tomorrow, Mitzvah Shem.